Chains, Rounds, Globes, Part 2, An Introduction to Globes and Rounds, a Theosophy 101 video by Dr. Lisa Love. Once again, we are trying to understand what can seem like a complex topic, especially when you see charts like these. Hanging in there. It's been tricky. I'm still trying. The chains video helped, but I'm still having a hard time. I personally am ready for a nap. Not me. My intuition device is just starting to kick in. Have faith. It will come to you eventually. Yes, concentrate. I have the power to figure this out. So, as expressed in the previous video on chains, we learned that in the esoteric point of view of life, we know that we do not live apart from the universe around us. We live, move, and have our being inside the many worlds we live in. That means we live inside of here. And here, inside what is known as a solar logos. And here, inside what is known as a planetary logos. And our universe, our solar logos, and our planetary logos in the esoteric tradition are all considered to be living entities. They are conscious. They think, they create, but not in ways we understand. Esoteric lore also asserts that our solar logos, a living being, has a scheme for each planet. Why call it a scheme? Well, the word scheme in English means a proposal or intention. So a scheme is the overall proposal or intention the solar logos has for each planet within it. Our Earth scheme or planetary logos is going through a process of evolving or expanding its consciousness. Like all forms, our planetary logos is going through certain stages of coming into manifestation like an infant in the womb, then getting born and living its life, then dying at some point. How our Earth scheme or planetary logos goes through this process of coming into manifestation, living its life, and going out of manifestation is illustrated through a complex process described through the words known as chains, globes, and rounds. So briefly, chains represent the 7 major stages of this process. Why 7? Because this is an illustration of one chain with 7 globes, but there are actually 7 of these. Globes include 49 substages of this process. Why 49? Because there are 7 chains with 7 globes. 7 times 7 is 49. And rounds indicate how one stage flows into the next. In Theosophical literature, the notion of chains, globes, and rounds first emerged with a book written in 1883 by A.P. Sinnett titled Esoteric Buddhism. Following this, a woman named H.P. Blavatsky wrote a book in 1888 titled The Secret Doctrine that she states was meant to expand upon and clarify upon the writings of A.P. Following the source text by the 2 main authors, information about chains, globes, and rounds came out in a series of other books between 1904 to 1933, starting with The Pedigree of Man by Annie Besant, then A Treatise on Cosmic Fire by Alice Bailey, next Man, Whence, How, and Whither by Annie Besant and Charles Ledbetter, The Solar System by Arthur E. Powell, and The Ocean of Theosophy by William Judge. Over time, the notion of what chains, globes, and rounds meant became jumbled and confusion occurred. But having reviewed all 7 books before creating this video, an attempt will be made to bring clarity to this confusion. So in esoteric circles, there are said to be 7 chains, each with 7 globes within the Earth scheme. Once more, these chains symbolize the 7 major stages of the life cycle of a planet, its scheme. 3 of the chains describe the process of bringing our Earth scheme into manifestation. It is in the womb and is not yet born. Yes, like I said in the video about chains, it is kind of like when you're reading about the stages of what a child is going through while it's in your womb, only here we're talking about a planet. One chain describes the life of our planet, Earth scheme, from the time it is born and becomes visible up until its death. Then 3 chains describe the process of how our planet or Earth scheme moves out of physical dense manifestation after it is gone from the visible physical realm. Now, here we see a picture of our solar system actually taken from a long ways out as satellites left our entire solar system. This is actually a series of satellite images that were compiled together by a computer. That's why you see the red lines there. And the idea here is that there are said to be 7 main levels of consciousness. And here we see the 7 levels from the traditional Theosophical model, and the names of these levels can change from model to model, so please be aware of that. But the idea here is that it is said that 7 planets in our solar system act as the 7 major chakras that draw these levels of consciousness into our solar system. And in a similar fashion, we have our Earth, and the chains act like the planets do for the solar system. The chains draw in these 7 levels of consciousness into our Earth scheme or planetary logos. So having gone through a brief review of what we learned in the previous video, we'll now focus on the 7 globes within the 7 chains within the Earth scheme, or the 49 globes overall. Oh, this is sounding so occult. Only initiates like me will be able to reveal its mysteries. Good luck to everyone else. Okay, ignoring that comment for now, we learned that because the word globe was used by early Theosophists, you might think we are talking about something that looks like this, where we have 49 planets within the 7 chains and the Earth scheme. Seriously, is this a joke? That view could lead people to believe that planets or globes, if they think of it that way, are somehow popping in and out of our solar system at random. And here we see some of them supposedly popping in and out. Wow, I think something is short-circuiting with my intuition device. But that is not what is going on here. In a way, the word globe is an unfortunate choice. So globes, again, refer to 49 substages of what is going on within our planet or Earth scheme as it goes through the stages of incubating in the womb, being born and living its life, and then dissolving and moving out of incarnation. Oh, I see. So within the 7 main stages, there are 49 substages, so 21 substages of what I can expect while the planet is in my womb, then 7 substages of how to parent the planet once it's born and hopefully it grows up to be a good planet in our solar system, then 21 more substages of how to midwife the planet when it's in its afterlife. Well, then I need to rename this book. Here we go. What to expect when you're expecting, then while you are alive and then after you are dead, by your solar logos. And to let you know, this is a #1 best-selling Earth scheme book. Bardo. We would call going through the afterlife moving through a bardo. Whatever. You are just so picky. Whereas chains draw in the 7 levels of consciousness into our planetary logos, globes have a different function. They prepare and help manifest and then sustain and later dissolve the life forms that come into and out of manifestation within the planet itself. Let's use a scientific analogy to help us. Science. I love science. Let's look at something known as globular proteins, which you see right here. And notice how the word globular and globe are connected together. Now, proteins are the building blocks of life. Unlike fibrous proteins, which only play a structural function in the creation of life, globular proteins do much more because they are soluble in aqueous solutions. For this reason, these globes act as enzymes that build up some substances and break down others, as transporters of other molecules through the membranes of other organisms. And these globular proteins act as messengers that transmit messages to regulate biological processes like creating hormones, which, by the way, are connected to glands, which is interesting because, as we're going to see, glands are connected in esoteric lore to chakras or back to the chains. So in a way, we might say that similarly, globes act like globular proteins. Why? Well, first, we see that globes, like enzymes, help build up substances, especially when they're in chains 1 through 4 within the life cycle of the planetary logos, and then break down substances when they are within chains 5 through 7. If you want more specific understanding of that, go back and review the video I did on chains. And like globular proteins, globes may help transport molecules within the membranes of the organisms they are creating and then later will destroy, especially in association with the organisms that will eventually become the 7 kingdoms of our planet. And these are the 7 kingdoms. We have mineral, plant, animal, and human, and most of us are aware of those. But then in esoteric lore, it's said that we will have 3 more kingdoms: the kingdom of conscious souls, the kingdom of planetary souls, and the kingdom of solar system souls. And we'll go into more detail what these mean a little later on in the video. Solar system souls. Yes, that's me. I am so indigo. Again, like globular proteins, we could view globes as transmitting messages within and between the 7 kingdoms so that each successive kingdom builds up more consciousness, while also building the glandular structures that will develop from kingdom to kingdom. So let's take a moment to review the association of glands with chakras to help you understand this. And in this chart, we're using the westernized words for these different chakras. So we have the crown chakra with the pineal gland, the third eye with the pituitary gland, the throat with the thyroid, the heart with the thymus gland, the solar plexus with the pancreas, the sacral with the ovaries or testes, depending on whether the person is in a male or female, human or animal body, and the root chakra with the adrenal glands. Globes then use these glandular processes, which are again the condensed version of chakras or chains that bring in the levels of consciousness to help these kingdoms manifest, live a life, and then disappear over time. Now, I've borrowed from science to give us some clues as to what may be going on with globes. I'd like to do a similar thing now by drawing some brief ideas from the book A Treatise on Cosmic Fire by Alice A. Bailey. And this book was written in 1925. Now, the quotes I'm going to share with you here are not specifically related to globes or specific globes, but as I was reviewing the book once more, I've read it a number of times, I thought there's some clues here that maybe or maybe not we can use to try and understand what goes on within specific globes. So here's one, that They could be drawing molecules together from the atomic or atmic plane to set the rate of vibration. That they could help to determine the source, mission, method, and objective. Here is another quote: "Things to consider in developing any form. It has to set the time factor for the 3 stages of construction, utilization, or dissolution. The karmic factors have to be considered. What's happened before? Now, why that statement? Because the idea of reincarnation is part of the Theosophical model. And just as humans have more than one life and we have to consider the karmic factors in a previous life, planets have more than one life. So a planet will jump from solar system to solar system. Planets won't pop in and out of a single solar system, but they will have different lives in different solar systems throughout a galaxy, and those karmic factors need to be considered. And other things to consider in developing a form: its color, vibration, direction, and keynote. Now that's bringing a form into existence. As you bring a form out of existence, which globes help do, you have to disintegrate the astral thought forms. Later that will include the mental thought forms. Then a statement that the law of karma, again, is reviewed, only this time it's used to help crystallize the forms as a prelude to their shattering. So there's something karmic about bringing them in, and there's something karmic as a review is done, and you bring the forms out. And finally, at the very end, there has to be a synthesis of all that has come before as the forms are being reabsorbed back into spirit. And that most likely would happen in chain 7. The globes would be doing that kind of work in chain 7. Go back and watch that video on chains. So this part is more complex. This part is for those of you that want to run with it, to really consider some of these ideas and see if you can develop what the specific 49 globes are. So before we keep going, let's pause and do another review. Once again, we live in a solar logos. It has 7 levels of consciousness. Here's the traditional Theosophical model. There are other models. These levels of consciousness move into the planets. The planets are the chakras of the solar logos. And there are 7 major chakras, and these are the planets that are said to be the major chakras of a solar logos here. And these planets are bringing in the levels of consciousness when they act as the chakras into our solar logos or our overall solar system. And then we have our Earth, and in our Earth scheme, the 7 chains act as those chakras. The chains are what are bringing in the 7 levels of consciousness to our planetary logos. And within each chain are 7 globes that further condense these 7 levels of chakras into the 7 kingdoms that will develop the different glands over time until eventually all 7 kingdoms are manifest. All of the glands, the condensed versions of the chakras, are manifest, and then our planet or our Earth scheme or planetary logos will start to go out of existence. So we've done an overview of the scheme, the chains, and the globes. Now we're going to look at the idea of rounds. And rounds are said to be life waves that go around from globe to globe within the chains. And most people view this process as happening in an orderly progression, going from one globe to the next within a chain, and then moving to the next chain to flow around from globe to globe in the next chain, and so forth like this. So here we have going through the various globes, then we go around to the next chain, we go around the various globes, go around to the next chain, and so on and so forth. And that's how most charts are drawn that help illustrate this process. Now, another way to view this is as follows. So here we have the 7 chains. Here we have the 7 chains visually for you in the Earth scheme and the various levels of consciousness that these chains are associated with. Now, a lot of this was in the previous video. We have Atmic Buddhic going into the head and ajna center into chain 1. The monastic, Kama monastic going into the throat and heart center in chain 2. The pranic, kamic, and astral going into the solar plexus and sacral center in chain 3. The base of the spine at chain 4, which is where we are having physical dense incarnation or manifestation. And then we see as we go out of incarnation, chain 5 is associated again, pranic, kamic, astral, these 2 chakras, chain 6, and chain 7. If you want more detail of all of this, watch the video on chains. And again, here's how most people believe the process of the 49 globes, remember 7 globes and 7 chains, 49 total, go around the chains within an Earth scheme. So remember, we go in and out of incarnation, and then we go into his level of pralaya, and when the whole process is done, go back and review the previous video on chains, and here we go. Most people think we have globe A and chain 1, and then chain 2, and then chain 3, chain 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we start with globe B in chains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. Chain C goes around, D goes around, E goes around, F goes around, and finally G goes around the chains. Oh no, I think this thing is broken. I need to get a refund from Amazon. But the problem with that approach is that the source material by A.P. Sinnott says these globes, they don't go around like that. Rather, they go around as follows. And I'm going to do my best to explain it to you without getting you too confused because it can look confusing. So starting with chain 1. We have globe A, the building phase. So it's starting to build the archetype, and then it starts to build the plan. And after it starts to build the plan, there is more building of the archetype going in globe B, and then more building of the plan going in globe B in chain 2. And then we start to go in the building phase for chain 3. Then we go back and go into the third part of the building phase in chain 1, chain 2, and we start to go into the second part of the building phase in chain 3, and then we go into the initial building phase of chain 4. We're actually going to look at chain 4 in a lot more detail in just a moment in another part of this video. Then we go up into the manifesting phase of the archetype is no longer being built, it's manifested. And we start to manifest the plan. We go into the third phase of the building phase of the chain 3, the desire phase. And then we start to go into more of the building phase in chain 4, where the Earth is actually in physical dense manifestation. Again, we're going to look at that in more detail shortly. And after that happens, we then start to go into the building phase of building the astral, pranic, kamic, and astral levels as the Earth scheme is getting ready to go out of manifestation. Then, you probably missed it, we start to go into the destroying or perhaps adjusting phase. It's hard for me to know what's really going on here. I'm giving you my ideas. up here in the archetype. Why? Because we've pretty much manifested it. Maybe we need to tweak it a little bit, or maybe we're just done with it and we don't have to focus on it quite so much. The same could be said for the plan. We don't have to focus on it quite so much. Maybe we're adjusting it. Then we start to actually manifest the strong desire or momentum to get ready to birth the planet. We go into the third building phase as the planet is coming into manifestation. And then we go into a building phase on the pranic, kamic, astral levels. And we get to start building up at the monastic, kama-monastic levels, preparing the way for the planet to eventually go out of manifestation. And then we're back into another destroying or adjusting phase of the archetype of the plan stage. Starting that adjusting, destroying level in chain 3 in the desire stage. And finally going into the full-on manifestation of the chain 4, Earth being manifested, especially in globe D. And that in esoteric lore is where it's said that we're at. So, by the way, here we are having a little bit more of the building phase in the pranic, kamic, astral levels, and the monastic, kama-monastic levels, and finally starting to build up at the idea or archetype levels. And the archetype at that point then is completely built, adjusted, and we no longer need to put any focus on it back here. So we are here in the fourth chain, where planets start to come into physical dense manifestation, and we are in the fourth globe, globe D, where the actual physical dense manifestation has occurred. We live inside of a physical dense manifested planet known as globe D, or the fourth globe, in chain 4 in the Earth scheme. Still, all of this can seem confusing. You got that part right. So let's bring it down to the lesser rounds where it is easier to comprehend. So let's connect this process to the creation of the kingdoms. Since we're in chain 4, where a planet starts to manifest into physical dense, and we enter into what could be called the lesser rounds, where the globes help the 7 kingdoms to appear. So here we are in chain 4. Our planet is in physical dense manifestation, and chain 4 has manifested the base of the spine chakra. And similar to how the globes go around from chain to chain, these kingdoms will go around the 7 globes in chain 4. Now, I want you to notice that if you saw the chain video, I put these words with the 7 chains. I'm going to associate these words: idea, archetype, plan, mind, dense, astral, manifestation, astral shell, mental summing up, idea, archetype. I'm going to associate them with the globes. I don't know if that's a correct thing to do or not, but I think it helps, especially as we go through these kingdoms. So here we go. Remember, things come into manifestation, they're manifested fully in globe D, and then go out of manifestation. So what does that mean? Well, let's start up here with the mineral kingdom. So in globe A, the way I view it is the mineral kingdom is kind of in the idea or archetype stage. I know, let's have a mineral kingdom within this planet. But then we have to go into globe B. This is how Sinnott says it works. We go from globe A, then to globe B, and in there we could say that the mineral kingdom, we're coming up with a plan. I know, let's have these kinds of minerals within the mineral kingdom. As that happens, we can start to build the archetype for the plant kingdom, which then goes into the planning stage, let's say in globe B. Then the mineral kingdom can go into globe C, where we're building up the desire for it. It's like the 8th or 9th month of pregnancy. We're like really getting excited. We're wanting this baby to be born, so to speak, this planet to get out of the womb, so to speak. We're wanting that mineral kingdom to start to manifest. When that happens, we come up with another idea. Let's have an animal kingdom. We bring that into the planning stage, and then the plant kingdom comes here into the desire stage. It's like the womb is swelling, and we've got a mineral kingdom ready to be born, a plant kingdom ready to be born. That's a little too much in the womb, so we start giving birth to the mineral kingdom here. We start to see the mineral kingdom appearing now within our planet in globe D. And when that happens, I've got an idea. Let's have a human kingdom. But we've got to make plans for that human kingdom. Well, that means we're getting that womb pretty full now. It's got the animal kingdom. We got to get that born. All right, well, let's birth the plant kingdom first. Well, what does that mean? The mineral kingdom then starts to go into globe E. Why is that happening? Because the plant kingdom is now absorbing minerals, and as that's happening, some of the mineral kingdom is now going out of manifestation. And when that happens, oh, I've got a great idea. Let's have a kingdom of conscious souls. Let's create a plan for what they'll look like. Well, that womb's getting pretty full. We've got the human kingdom and the animal kingdom both in it now, so let's birth the animal kingdom into physical dense. But as that happens, plants start to disappear. Why? What are animals doing? They're eating plants. And minerals are disappearing even more. Why? Because we have both animals and plants using them up. And when that happens, I know I've got another great idea. Let's have a kingdom of planetary souls. But we've got to build a plan for it. Well, the womb has got these humans and these kingdoms of conscious souls in it, so we better birth those humans and get them out of here. But as that happens, what's going on? Animals are starting to disappear. Why? Humans are eating animals, they're eating plants, they're using up minerals. Animals are still eating plants, using up minerals. Plants are still using up minerals. So what goes on? We have fewer and fewer plants, and we have way fewer minerals than we did before. And what happens then? I know. Let's have a kingdom of solar system souls. And that is where we are right now. So you've noticed something already. What goes on when kingdoms shift around? So as we've seen, as new kingdoms appear on globe D, we have all these kingdoms here right now. Human, animal, plant, and mineral kingdoms are all manifested. Other kingdoms start to go into extinction. They move up the ascending arc, which is what we were already explaining to you. For example, the diversity and extent of the mineral kingdom, I am sure, is nothing now like it was at the birth of our planet, since, as I already said, plants, animals, and humans have been eating away at it, depleting it, and using up massive amounts of mineral resources. The same could be said for the plant kingdom, as the diversity and extent of plant life has been consumed by the animal and human kingdoms. As for the animal kingdom, it has lost a lot of its diversity and is not nearly as extensive as it once was throughout the planet. This means that a lot of the animal kingdom has moved into globe E, where they are memories, ghosts, and astral shells. Now, when something is an astral shell, we have the image of it, we have the memory of it, like dinosaurs. We may even still have a little bit of the matter or material of it, but for the most part, it's just a shell of what it once was. It's just an image or a memory. The loss of the dominance of animals actually began in the Jurassic Age with the extinction of the dinosaurs, but it has become accelerated as humans have become more dominant and are eating and killing animals, often in a sad and brutal way. Now we're going to look at kingdoms to come. To let you know, those in the human kingdom are said to be more tribal, nationalistic, and individualistic. They also are said to have little true awareness of their spiritual identity. They see God in an exoteric way, as out there or separate from them. Again, that's the exoteric view. And here we have those humans right here, dominating the planet at this time. But already, members of the fifth kingdom of conscious souls have been incubated in the womb, and already we are told some of them are coming into incarnation. They are more aware of spiritual realities and are starting to prove these realities in a factual and scientific way. And they are more likely to be esoteric or to look within for God. Now, we're not going through all the stages of the kingdom of conscious souls. In Theosophical literature, they would be known as the aspirants and the probationers, and maybe to a certain degree some disciples. Those in the kingdom of conscious souls strive to be more compassionate to the other kingdoms, treating them better. In part, why? Because they are the fifth kingdom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the fifth kingdom resonates with both chain 5 and globe E or globe 5. Where is globe E? Where is chain 5? They both are connected more to the astral levels of consciousness, which means those who are part of the kingdom of conscious souls will have more inner astral plane, astral level awareness, even while they're in physical dense manifestation. Why are they going to be more factual and scientific in their approach to these inner realms? Because again, 5 is the number for mind, and that resonates with chain 5 and also globe E or globe 5. But they're not going to be truly factual and scientific yet. That's going to come a little bit later, especially in other kingdoms to come. So, as the next kingdom of conscious souls comes more into physical dense manifestation, those with human consciousness are going to do what? They're tribal, nationalistic, individualistic, exoteric in their point of view. What happens when a kingdom comes in here? Members of the previous kingdom start to go out of incarnation. They move into globe E. So what that means is more members of this kingdom are coming into physical dense manifestation. More and more of the animal, plant, and mineral kingdoms are going to go up out of manifestation as well. More animals are going to leave. We're told that the animal kingdom that remains are actually going to become individualized and more human-like, and the others are going to go out of incarnation, and we're going to lose more plants as well. So we'll be losing humans, animals, and plants, more of them, as the kingdom of conscious souls comes into manifestation. But regarding the remaining kingdoms, the kingdom of conscious souls is going to be striving to treat humans, animals, and plants in the mineral kingdoms that remain more consciously. And after more conscious souls come into incarnation, the planetary souls will gain momentum as they prepare to come into physical dense manifestation, and the solar system souls will go into the planning stage as they're preparing to come into manifestation as well. And as more planetary souls come into physical dense manifestation, what are planetary souls? They have planetary consciousness. In their everyday lives, they think on a planetary level. They desire what is good for the planet as a whole. They treat all kingdoms that come before them, kingdom of conscious souls, human, animal, plant, and mineral, that are still existing on the planet, they treat them in accordance to an understanding of what benefits the planet as a whole. Humans, human kingdom, they think pretty much about what benefits me. Kingdom of conscious souls, they tend to be more spiritually orientated. But the kingdom of planetary souls will naturally, in their everyday waking consciousness, think about what is good for the planet as a whole. Everyone will be thinking like that. And they will be more aware of how we factually live, move, and have our being inside of a being known as our planetary logos. As you're watching this video, you're probably at least here, or you wouldn't even be interested in this kind of video. But it's probably still more of an idea to you. It's not a living experience. The planet may seem alive here and there to you, and you may consider how to use all the other kingdoms here and there in a good way, but as that is your everyday, every moment state of waking consciousness, to think about the good of the planet, to experience the planet as a living being, then and only then could you be considered to be part of the kingdom of planetary souls. And what happens then? Those with the little more limited consciousness of only kingdom of conscious souls will be going out of incarnation, and those with the human-like consciousness, they won't even be a memory. You know, there's so many animals that we don't have any fossils for. We don't have any memory what they were like. Same with plants, same with the mineral kingdom, and at this point, same with humans. We won't even have a memory at this point when we're mostly the kingdom of planetary souls here within our physical dense world. We probably won't even have much memory of what humans were like. And the animals will move here. Planetary souls will also teach everyone to become loving spiritual custodians of this planet and of other members of the other kingdoms that remain. And they will be teaching people how to live in harmony with the overall plans of our planetary logos. And as they succeed at doing this, then solar system souls will likewise gain momentum towards coming into physical dense incarnation. And as the final kingdom of solar system souls dominates the earth in physical dense manifestation, we will find that humanity has already learned how to care for the planet and all the other kingdoms within it. It is already naturally inclined to think about what is good for the planet as a whole. But there will be those souls who are coming in who are beyond even that level of consciousness, and they are beginning to think about what's good for the overall solar system and even a little bit beyond the solar system as well. The consciousness of people will be freed up to reach beyond the life of our planetary logos out towards our solar logos. In our inner lives and in our outer lives, we will increasingly live, move, and have our being throughout the solar system. Now we see glimpses of this happening already. Why? Because I'm sure we've had some avatars, they would be called, with this level of consciousness that have come into our planet and have seeded the idea within the planetary souls and the conscious souls, and even as a vision or ideal to some with human consciousness to move beyond the ring past naught of just our planet, to go beyond that. But they're not necessarily living, moving, and having their everyday waking consciousness and being within a solar system. They're either thinking about it now and then if they see something on a video somewhere, and then they forget about it really rapidly and go back to their own selfish needs for the day, or they see it as the idea of being out in the solar system or beyond somewhere as kind of a Star Trek, Star Wars, sci-fi kind of vision, Dune or something out there somewhere, but then they drop that and just start to practice their spiritual lives in a more limited way, or they're really starting to grab a hold of that vision and are wanting to push out into the solar system, but again, they're not stabilized in their everyday consciousness at this level. Very, very few souls have come in to physical dense incarnation in our planet along those lines, and again, they would be considered avatars. And when they come into incarnation, we'll have more planetary souls go out of incarnation, kingdom of conscious souls go out of incarnation, and humans, we probably won't even really remember much who they were or what they were like at this. So at some point in the future, all 7 kingdoms will have moved into globe G, and our planetary logos will have completed its life within chain 4. Now, these kingdoms are manifested in globe D. They start to disappear in globe E. We don't even really have images or memories of them in globe F, and they're being completely absorbed in globe G. So by this point, the planet will have already, and all these kingdoms will have already long ago left physical dense incarnation. Modern science and the exoteric view is all about what goes on within globe D of our planet when everything is visible. These globes, E, F, and G, are all about what goes on in those 21 stages, 7 globes times 3, 21 stages. It's all about what goes on as these 7 kingdoms are being reabsorbed, dissolved, and going back into spirit. And when that happens, we will go around, speaking of the greater rounds now, into chain 5, as the last remnants of the physical dense planet are absorbed and disappear and all go out of physical dense manifestation back into the pranic, kamic, or astral levels of consciousness. Our planet that we live, move, and have our being within will just simply be a memory at that point. And those are the levels of consciousness, the chakras that are associated with those levels of consciousness. They're having to do with chain 5. We're coming to the end of the video. A summary. The planets in our solar logos are known as schemes. Each one of these planets has a scheme, and we are in the Earth scheme. Each scheme or planet goes through a process of coming into manifestation, being born and living a life, and going out of manifestation, and that process we've described as chains, globes, and rounds. Again, chains are the 7 major stages of this process. Globes are the 49 minor substages of this process, and rounds show how one stage flows into the next. Greater rounds show how globes move or go around from chain to chain. Lesser rounds show how kingdoms move or go around from globe to globe within chain 4. Hopefully, all of this is a little more comprehensible to you now. Well, that really got me thinking. Thank you. Planets think, suns have chakras. What a bunch of nonsense. 2 videos and your mind still did not open up. Well, at least I enjoyed the videos. This was a lot less mysterious than I thought it was going to be. I need to find something more occult to think about. All those little icons and animations. What a lot of work. Good job. The topic makes a lot more sense to me now. Thank you. You're welcome. Did you enjoy this video? Well, then support this work. You can do so by purchasing one of our books, or you can set up a one-on-one spiritual guidance session. You can visit our website at soul2spirit.com. Want to help us write more books and improve upon these videos? When you do, you get copies of charts, books, and an inside look into our process and what's next. How do you do that? Become a patron at patreon.com/soul2spirit. I always like to give credit where credit is due. This video was created and narrated by me, Dr. Lisa Love. The videos that were used were purchased for use from storyblocks.com. The photos were purchased from 123rf.com. The photos of the planets were from the royalty-free Creative Commons, accessed through Microsoft PowerPoint. Want to learn more? Visit our website at soul2spirit.com. Enjoy this YouTube channel? Please subscribe. Thank you for watching.